The Survival Hunter is the best DPSer in MoP, bar none. They have the best single target damage, they have amazing AoE and amazing cleaving. However, they are a glass cannon, they do not have any good defensive cooldowns, so this is for the pumpers only. For your talents, we're gonna be taking Crouching Tiger, less cooldown on Disengage. Our only good mobility is very important. We wanna move, we wanna be auto damage, because if we take damage we're screwed. We are gonna take Binding Shot, it is very convenient, an AoE route. We are gonna take Aspect of the Iron Hawk. In Fervor, 50 focus, you're gonna see here, because for example, Dire Beast is a good cooldown, right? The main limiter for survival is focus. You are always gonna be hungry for more focus. So Fervor with 50 focus is pretty good. We are gonna be popping this on cooldown. Then we are gonna be taking a Murder of Crows. It is just a very good single target boom boom. And then we're gonna be taking Glyph Toss. It is just broken, it does a lot of damage, it is overtuned as hell. I am surprised actually that they didn't try to nerf Glyph Toss or buff some of the other talents to compensate or something like that. But pretty much every single hunter is gonna be taking Glyph Toss every single time. Now for the glyphs, we're gonna be taking the Glyph of Animal Bond. It is 10% more healing to you. Once again, going to the fact that we do not have any good defensives, this will go a long way. Then we are gonna be taking the Glyph of Deterrence. Once again, 20% less damage taken. We need defensives really bad. And we are gonna be taking the Glyph of Disengage. It is just gonna make our Disengage jump a little longer. Disengage is extremely important, and that's gonna separate a great Survival Hunter from a bad Survival Hunter. Surviving mechanics at the least cost to your damage possible. That's the name of the game for survival. If you just stand there and do nothing, and you don't have to move ever, you're easily the best DPSer in the game. But when you actually have to deal with mechanics, for example, mages can do like Cauterize to ignore some mechanics, or they can just blink, or paladins can bubble, whatever, you know what I mean. They can always avoid mechanics or survive through mechanics. You can't. So even kinda like minor AoE damage that other classes could ignore, you can't. And that's why Disengage is so important, that we are taking a glyph and a talent for it. Your stat priority is gonna be very simple. We wanna take agility, agility, agility. It is more important than hit, it is more important than expertise, it is more important than bread and water and men's butt. Agility gives you attack power, which is your best stat by far. Of course, you cannot take attack power directly anymore. And agility will give you crit. Every single ability and auto shot you do and your pet damage will scale off agility. And you cannot reforce for agility because it is a base stat, and that means every little piece of agility you get is very, very precious. And you cannot reforce for agility because it is a base stat, so every little agility you can get is oh so precious. After that is gonna come our hit cap of 7.5%, and after that is gonna come our expertise cap of also 7.5%. After that is gonna come critical strike, after that is gonna come haste, we do not need a cap of anything, and finally mastery. Now, why is mastery so weak? This is our mastery, Essence of the Viper. It is gonna give us extra magic damage. Now yes, almost every single one of your abilities are magical, except for kill shot and multi-shot pretty much. However, it is still about half of your damage, right? You still got auto shot and you still got your, don't forget, your pet damage. And yes, I tested it, even magical damage from pets will not be affected by mastery, because otherwise you could take like a Wind Serpent or a Chimera and those would work, but no, it doesn't work for them either. So mastery is gonna be very bad, not because the scaling is bad, but because it only affects half of your damage, right? So it says 8%, you can imagine it as 4% instead. But yes, if you are watching this guide in Throne of Thunder or after that, haste is actually more important than crit. Not by a lot, but it is. Your rotation is gonna be Serpent Sting, then you're gonna be doing Kill Shot if you can cast Kill Shot, because it's an execute, don't forget. You need below 20% HP to do Kill Shot. After that is gonna be Explosive Shot, and after that we're gonna be doing Black Arrow on cooldown. Now, Black Arrow has a little bit of a cool proc. It will give you 2 explosive shots for free that do not have a cooldown. So if you get a lock and load proc, you are gonna be able to cast Explosive Shot, your best attack, 3 times in a row. I am gonna put a Wikora in the Discord that will tell you when you get a lock and load proc. Do not forget that lock and load has a 10-second cooldown, and also your Black Arrow has a 20-second duration and a 30-second cooldown. Exactly 10-second difference. So if you just got a lock and load proc, you should not do Black Arrow until 10 seconds later, right? It is not a big deal if you want to drop it on cooldown. Between you and me, it will not do anything, right? It is just a super tiny try-hard thing you can think about. But yes, you can do that to maximize value. After that, we're going to be doing Glyph Toss. It just does a lot of damage, and after that we're gonna be doing a Murder of Crows for the same reason. It has a cooldown, just do it on cooldown. And as a filler, we are gonna be using Arcane Shot if we got more than 60 focus. Arcane Shot is kinda like the equivalent of Heroic Strike. It is just for dumping focus. But if we do not have an excess of focus, we are going to be filling up instead with Cobra Shot. Now, Cobra Shot is important because it will refresh Serpent Sting. We are going to be doing Serpent Sting first in the rotation, and Cobra Shot is just going to refresh it over and over forever. Now, if you are cleaving, that is between 2 and 5 targets, first in the priority is going to be Glyph Toss. It is kind of hard to aim it at as many targets as possible, but Glyph Toss does stupid damage. After that is going to come an Explosive Trap, and then we are just going to spam multi-shot until our fingers bleed. You can, however, put a Black Arrow in a random target and fish for that lock and load proc. Explosive Shot does not do AoE damage in Pandaria, however it is free and it does a lot of damage, so you can take advantage of that proc to save up some focus so you can go back to spamming multi-shot, which is very focus expensive. If you are dealing with true AoE, that is more than 5 targets, we are going to be doing Glyph Toss on cooldown, then we are going to be doing Explosive Trap whenever we can, and after that, yes, multi-shot. Your true AoE is not nearly as good as your cleaving, sadly, but it is still very much a competent AoE damage. It's just now, as a survival hunter, we got a lot less cooldowns to worry about. Rabid, more pet damage, pop it on cooldown. Fervor, more focus, pop it on cooldown. And Rapid Fire, 40% haste. Now, this one is kinda complicated because obviously you do not wanna pop it along Bloodlust. You're gonna hit the haste cap in a second, right? That's bad, that's a waste of value. But you do wanna use Rapid Fire when you got a cooldown up, like your trinkets or something like that. However, I would say I would pop it at the start of the fight and then I would wait until the execute phase, because Killshot does a lot of damage. That is probably the best value you can go for. When in doubt, pop it on cooldown. Your meta gem is gonna be the Agile Primal Diamond for agility and 3% boom boom. Your red gem is gonna be the Delicate Primordial Ruby for 160 agility. Your yellow gem is gonna be the Deadly Vermilion Onyx for 80 agility and 160 crit. And your blue gem is gonna be the Glinting Imperial Amethyst for agility and hit. If you got excess hit, you reforce for it, okay? Reforce it away. This is by far the best gem because it has agility and a useful stat. Of course, it would be better if it was pure agility or agility and crit, but this is the best thing we can get, so reforge around it, figure it out, it goes. Your food is gonna be the Sea Mist Rice Noodles for 300 agility, your flask is gonna be the Flask of Spring Blossoms for even more agility, and your potion is gonna be Beerman's Bite for a stupid amount of agility, pop it along your cooldowns. Overall, the Survival Hunter is the best DPSer in the game, and it will probably not get nerfed because Blizzard knows that people are just gonna raise the pitchforks and the torches if they do. So if you are on the fence on what you wanna play, Survival is always a very safe bet. However, I prefer Beast Mastery, and we are definitely gonna make a video on that soon. My pet is gonna be a mod, and there is nothing you can do about it. Subscribe, join the Discord, and thank you for watching!